Zamboni's on 7th Restaurant and Bar at 174 West 7th Street, right across the street from Grand Casino Arena. We're going to keep calling it the X. More than just your go-to spot before, during, and after all your favorite downtown events, Zamboni's on 7th is now your spot for late-night downtown eats. On game days, event days, and plain old regular days, Tuesday through Saturday. Zamboni's on 7th is now serving their delicious tavern-style pizza, as well as fried specialties late into the night. Check out their menu online at zambonison7th.com or stop by for a few beers, cocktails, or sodas and dig in. Zamboni's on 7th. Before, during, and after. Way after.
There you go. I will say it's hard to find some places like post-wild games during the week. Like, I remember there was, I think, one time I was downtown after a game and we were going to like Uber home and we're like, we want to wait till like the prices go down. And we're like, I guess there was like McGovern's. It was like one of the few places we could go to like grab a beer and a little bit of food, but worked out. So shout out to Zamboni's on 7th.
Even for late start games, like last night's game against Carolina Hurricanes.
I don't think it's been a long time since the Wild have been on that side of like a beatdown like that, where like you just get completely outplayed to hell and you somehow find a way to win. Like we goalied another team for once, which is super nice.
Hey, and we'll get into it. First half of the game, the Wild were bullying them. And then
I thought the first period was good, and then it was pretty much, it was all Carolina from that point. I think in the final two periods, where I think the shots were like, was it 32-8 or 38-8 or something.
Riley was pumped to be home, man. That's all I'm going to say. Holy.
Yeah, and Jackson Blake had a heck of a homecoming too.
Yeah, few guys.
But yeah, we have a lot to get to today. Unlike last week, a lot more kind of headlines around the hockey world. With 3 Minnesota Wild wins, we get to talk about a lot of good stuff this week, which is always fun. It's a lot more fun to prep these shows when the Wild are winning. It's a lot easier to find good things to talk about than some bad things. So we'll get to some stuff that I've been talking about on Twitter this week with Joel Eriksson. Obviously, we got to talk about Jesper Wallstedt. And we'll talk a little bit about Jared Spurgeon, the upcoming schedule. So should be a really, really fun show this evening as we head into the weekend before the holiday season truly, really kicks off. So we'll start off here.
You know what's funny? I just realized what my hoodie actually says.
The Flow. Which you're letting hang down at. You got the Flow going.
Yeah. So. This was actually, it was someone in Vancouver did, they made a bunch of t-shirts. It's Brock Besser's Flow in his rookie season, and they donated all the proceeds. I think their buddy like was diagnosed with cancer and needed like some sort of surgery. So they like reached that goal and then donated the rest to the Canucks for Kids Fund. So I think I have a shirt somewhere in storage as well, but like this hoodie, like I've worked out in it. I've had it for almost 10 years and it's lasted the longest. So like whatever that print on demand company they were using at the time, top tier stuff.
Yeah. It's always nice finding that like perfect t-shirt hoodie that you just like to wear like all the time.
Or jeans. Oh man. The thing about jeans, like eventually they're going to go, but like if you can like keep a good pair of jeans for like 8 to 10 years, fuck.
Yeah, no kidding. I have a pair that I've had for probably 5 that I really like. So, well, let's get into the hockey headlines here. We'll start off our biggest headline here. Your Canucks win the sweepstakes of David Kemp, extend him to a $1.1 million deal. He was released by Toronto, or his contract was like terminated. I don't really remember like the exact reason why. Like he was just unhappy with playing time or something, wanted to be released, and the Canucks sign him. According to Michael Russo, the Wild were in on him for a little bit, but at the time, Nico Sturm was pretty close to coming back. Danila Yurov was playing good hockey, so just didn't see the fit. I bet you if they could go back in time now with some of the injuries, maybe they would have rethought that, but is what it is. But, you know, nothing significant, but had to throw something in there for your Canucks. The next couple contracts here.
Quickly, just like not bad numbers on a bad team and like decent depth player numbers on a good team. So the Canucks need anything they can get right now, being so injury decimated, which I will say, Pettersson having a way better year, leading, like, I think he's got like 15 or 16 assists right now. Only 5 goals.
And meanwhile, JT Miller is out for joy skates through. Did you see that clip
Oh my
against
dude,
Vegas.
oh man, we should have honestly prepped a little. I should have prepped a little bit more on this. You prepped the whole fucking show. But I was gonna pose the question, like, what was worse, that or Sergei Kostitsyn for the Nashville Predators, who literally just was like, and just skated back to the bench, and Barry Trotz was like, no. They were both pretty egregious.
Yeah, it was just, for those that didn't see, it was, I think, Tuesday night, I want to say, is when the game was, and basically it's the Rangers playing Vegas, and like JT Miller kind of like loses the puck to Mitch Marner and then just completely gives up on the play. Like watches Marner like skate down the zone and like I think end up feeding somebody back door, and like definitely had a chance to like make a play, like get on his hands a little bit, like chase him down, like make a play, and just kind of like went, whatever. And he scored, and he was like kind of like did a light stick tap in frustration, and like skated to the bench. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah, like talk about just
captain of that team, by the way.
Well, I was gonna say the guy who like was supposed to be the one who cared so much in Vancouver to the point where like, oh, Petey's not doing enough, blah blah blah, and then this freaking debacle happens over here. For anybody who's watching on YouTube, I mean, you get the good stuff here, but one sec. But yeah, just watch him right here. And I'm just gonna go for a little sit there and
man, shoot.
Like,
brutal. Couple other notable contracts coming out in the last week. The biggest to Adrian Kempe of the LA Kings agrees to an 8 by $10.62 million extension. Well deserved. Like probably one of like the least talked about stars in the league. Like just steady Eddie. I mean, you look going back to, what is that, 2021, 35 goals, 41 goals, 28 goals, 35 goals, 6 already in 20 games to start this year. I don't know what that pace is off the top of my head. It would be,
but 19 points too, so like he's still just
so numbers that'd actually be down this year because I'd be pacing for probably like 27-ish right now, because times it by 4 would get 80 games. That'd have you at 24, so 25, 26, so a little down to start this year. But
yeah, but Brett, look at the years where he had under 30. He like fucking crushed it in assists, and that's kind of the way he's going right now as well.
Yeah, 26, 52.
Dude, he seems like he's gonna be a King's lifer. He's just like, the second line of Kopitar, and like if you because he plays a lot like Kopitar despite being a winger, is why I love him. He's big body, good in the corners, good at setting stuff up, and
crazy fast too. I'm pretty sure
crazy fast. And you look at the two guys that he's got like to potentially center him in the future, like depending on if Duclair or not Duclair. Hold on. Yeah,
Byfield?
Quinton Byfield. Jeez, Quinton Byfield, and then they also have, who's the other center that they still have? As well. Yeah. So like you're already two like really good center deep. Like Quinton Byfield, like sucks that New York didn't pick him, and they went with the French kid instead, because like it maybe took a little bit of time for him to be that bona fide top center, but like he is now, whether he's on the second line or first line, like you got a line that's going up against Quinton Byfield's line, and he is tough to play against. And it just took him a little bit of time, honestly, I think, to grow into his body as well, because he was always like taller and lankier than everybody in junior. But he's playing the game in which NHL teams wanted him to play and develop into, in the same game he played at junior, but now against men. And he's got a freaking just such good hockey sense and just power forward mindset with really, really good setup ability. So
yeah.
Dangerous duo, and Kempe is going to be there for a while. I think he's going to play, well into his late 30s, and we'll see if he plays in the final year or two of the contract. But like, yeah, I have no issue with this one, Brett, and the way the contracts are going. I mean, what a player.
Yeah, I think good deal for him, good deal for LA, and I think the other thing too is I think the ripple effects of this. I think this kind of sets the market now for the wingers in a way. Like no one, like Kempe was not going to get Marner money, but I think you look at someone like Alex Tuck. Like a player of that type, like whatever number he had in mind before, like this is probably the new comparison for him. So if it was lower, he just got a bump. If it was higher, he probably just got a little chunk off. But because I'd heard that was kind of the hiccup right now with him, Buffalo, is that they weren't going high enough. I think I heard as much as like 12 for him, but now they're gonna be like, well, Kempe just got 10.62 and he plays in LA. Like you're not getting 12 in Buffalo. But that'll be interesting. Or maybe someone will pay him that. Who knows? Some other big ones: Pinto and Ottawa agree 4 by $7.5 million. So kind of a bet on upside for him. Like, has been obviously had the suspension, missed a handful of games last year, but I think a player at one time, I think the Wild were even kicking the tires around to check on his availability last year and over the summer with Rossi. But good deal for them. Second round pick, I believe, played at North Dakota. So pretty good signing for them. Again, with a $7.5 million price tag, you're betting on the upside, but I think you got to like what you've seen from him so far, especially 15 points in 19 games, looking well on his way to a career year.
Yeah, he's put up 20 goals twice, has already been involved in an NHL scandal. He's probably made more money from DraftKings than he did in his entire NHL career. But hey, now he's signed the big deal. Now he's signed
41 games for using a bookie to bet on non-hockey. Kind of ridiculous, but
I mean, man, with everything that's going down with the UFC right now, I believe that everything is worse than it seems.
That's
not even just UFC, NBA, and yeah.
So let's see. And
Good
then
player,
and the other big one. Speaking of good players, Adam Lowry and the Jets agree to a 5x5. Like, he is kind of the penultimate, like, 3C. Like, size, really good shutdown ability, and then he's going to chip in a handful of points. He's kind of Winnipeg's version of Marcus Foligno in a way. Like, plays a very similar role to him, or kind of like almost like a diet Eriksson Ek maybe, but like the exact kind of player I'd want on my third line. So, solid player. I think is he the captain of the Jets? He might be the captain, or at least maybe an alternate right now. But
dude, and look at 62 playoff games. Like, he has been involved with the Jets, like, mostly throughout the good times, not like the dark days when they just moved from Atlanta.
Yeah, exactly. Because they got their good. So good for him. And like with those, not including camp here, but with like those three kind of off the board now, like there is like slim pickings for free agents next summer. Like, you look at the guys that be free agents, a lot of like injury prone players or guys that are just getting old and that are either going to retire or probably go back to their teams. Like, you have Artemi Panarin, Ovechkin, Line Robertson in Dallas is an RFA, Anders Lee, Evgeny Malkin, Nick Schmaltz is probably like going to be one of the most sought after unless Utah resigns him. Oliver Bjorkstrand, Charlie Coyle, Evander Kane, Alex Wenberg, like JG Pajot, Tuck, as we just talked about already, Eberle, Marchment, Kuzmenko, Zuccarello, Arvidsson, Perron, Jenner, Hayes, Mantha, Riley Smith, Shrew, Sherwood. Like, no,
Dude,
like
Sherwood's making them bands, dude.
Yeah, someone will pay him Sam Bennett money because he hit people and scored some goals. But
yeah, some goal. Okay. He's leading the Canucks in goals with 13, I believe. Right.
Yeah,
now.
Kyle Brodziak led the Wild in goals scored 1 year too.
Yeah. Okay. Just don't take this away from us. This is all I have, Brett. This is literally all I have.
Yeah.
Dude, so the most interesting names are obviously Panarin. You said Schmaltz. Malkin's going back to Russia or retiring. So whatever. Ovi, if he stays, it's in Washington. He's not going anywhere else. I think Robertson's interesting.
Yeah, he's an RFA though, so
okay, never mind.
Line
A, I mean,
I think he's proved that he is what he is at this point. He can help
your
power
play. Does he stay
play
with Montreal on a cheaper deal? Does he try to go? Like, he's not gonna make a lot of money.
Needs to get healthy first too. I think he's
that's the thing too. Yeah, he's gonna be out for I think another like 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what a horrible year to get injured as well. If he joins Montreal though, because I imagine they're going to be hot all year, and maybe helps them in the playoffs, perhaps he cashes in on that. But like it's crazy, man. And maybe it's injury, maybe it was just, I don't know, poor development path, like something went wrong there. But like, he came into the league and we're like, oh, dude, this guy's OV 2.0. Like, he's just gonna score and score and score, and that's all he does. And for 3 years, that's all he did, and then. Yeah, then evidence just seemed like a storm after storm after storm, and now he was with third line with Montreal before he even got injured, like crazy.
I think he was playing fourth line. Like that's
it's like sick depth Montreal, but like, dude, that's not the Patrick Laine that I remember. I was pissed off that like the Canucks didn't get a chance at with 6th overall that year, and they passed on fucking Matthew Tkachuk too. But anyways.
Yeah, I bring up all the names because I do think it's notable. Like, if you're the Wild, like we've heard reported now more or less that their offseason plan this past season was to sign Brock Nelson, and that fell through, and they didn't really have a backup plan. And so I'm hoping like we're not going to get into this they're not going to trade it for anybody this year because, we're going to go sign Alex Tuck in the offseason, then it doesn't work again. So, like, I do wonder, like, just as seeing these names come off the board, if you're Bill Guerin, like, it almost seems like the upgrade now has to probably come via trade, and you have to figure out what you're willing to give up now in that. Because I think offseason they were trying to trade Rossi, but I think that the Wild might finally be seeing what all of us fans have been seeing, and like, hey,
yeah,
we should probably keep this guy on our team.
There's some like sneaky low cost, low risk, high upside guys here as well. Like Eberle is probably not going to command as much as his last deals. Could be a guy for like 2 years that maybe bring on again. That option,
I just see a lot of guys that could turn out to have a Tarasenko type of year right now.
Giroux. I mean, he's already in pay cut mode of his career because he's just laughing. What if Fleury goes, "Yo, hey, salut mon gars, viens ici, Minnesota, c'est très belle." And he goes, "Oh, you know what? Like, Minnesota's not too bad. Better than Ottawa, I'd say, as far as a place to live."
Yeah,
Canada, sorry,
but yeah. So interesting.
I don't think if they can get a guy on low cost, I don't think it should be like fearful. But going back to what you said, if they're going to make a splash for some offense, it's not going to be realistically one of these guys, and if so, they're going to probably overpay.
Because to me, there's like outside of like Tuck, I don't even know if I could put Panarin in that group right now. But like
Panarin's going to still he's still going to ask a lot. That's the thing too.
But I don't think he's having that great of a year even. Like he's
no, but put him with Kaprizov, Brett, and he's having a good year.
He's playing with good people in New York, and he's got
JT Miller's also playing good people in New York. Something's wrong with New York right now. I'm not very much blaming the players. I mean, I don't know.
He's doing a little better. He's got 5 goals, 14 assists, 19 points, and is -1. So I think it looks like
put him in
he's played better as of late.
Fresh.
He's on a 1, 2, 3.
Fresh situation with his former Olympic teammate Kirill Kaprizov, and we're cooking.
Yeah. He's on a 5-game point streak with 2 goals and 7 assists on it. So he's playing better as of late in a +4 rating. So.
He'll retire at 38, just like Zuccarello, 38, 39, because Kirill can just extend these guys' careers.
Yeah, the part that scares him is like for me that's scary. Like he wants big money, and I wonder if he's going to be worth that. But if you can do it on a 1 or 2 year deal, then maybe it's worth it at that point. But yeah, that would be my concern there. But anyway, moving on, we can save all that stuff for the offseason. Other signing that happened this last week, kind of a minor one, but the Avalanche signed their goaltender Scott Wedgwood to a $1.25 million extension, and like he's kind of their backup, but has kind of been their starter here to begin the year with. Mackenzie Blackwood out with, I believe, still recovering from some off-season surgery or something happened early in the year. But like you talk about a guy who's just been like a quality backup for many years now. Like he's been really solid with Dallas, and then I think brief stint in Nashville, and then now with Colorado. So
New Jersey too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like again, I think he's more of like he's kind of your stereotypical perfect like older veteran backup, but a solid netminder nonetheless. So good piece for the Avs and kind of rewarding him there for, I think that's easily the team to beat in the league right now. The Avs are just playing so well, and some of that comes back to Wedgwood too, who's played quite well.
Yeah, no, and good deal to lock him up for now anyways. And yeah, I mean, he just seems like every year Scott Wedgwood still on a team, still that dependable backup. And yeah, like you said, I like seeing guys get rewarded for that because 34, 30, I think I just closed it, but 34, 35. So good to see him still getting a few $1 million to play in the league.
Sure. And then quite a few significant injuries in the past week or so here. Another kind of Jack Hughes type one here. Eetu Luostarinen for the Florida Panthers suffered burns during a barbecue accident at some point over the last week. So we have the knife incident for Jack Hughes, which I think we talked about last week, or maybe we didn't. But yeah, he's out for, I think, and I have it on here, out for 8 weeks after like cutting his finger, which to have surgery on a cut finger, you must have cut pretty deep.
That is some Victor Rask ass shit right there.
Yeah. So, and then Eetu Luostarinen said, "Hey, hold my beer. I'm going to go out with burns now." So scary stuff, but just crazy injuries this week. Alex Newhook, the blows for the Montreal Canadiens this week were brutal. Alex Newhook is going to go out 4 months after ankle surgery. Kane Gooley out 8 to 10 weeks after going adductor muscle surgery, and then Kirby Dach out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured foot. So 2 of their top 3 centers out anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 months. And
Newhook was like having a bounce back year. So that's super unfortunate.
Yeah, and Gooley, one of their up-and-coming defensemen, physical, like, huge blow to a team that got off to a really good start to the year, but we'll definitely have to battle through that now, and going to have to be, could be Ivan Demidov's time to shine, to be honest. Like, if you need someone to step up, same with Slavkovsky, I think that would be there, too, to kind of step up a little bit here, but...
Dude, I can't believe Gallagher is, I say only 33, but like he's probably like 50 in hockey years.
Oh God, he feels like he's been around forever.
Oh man. And it's like he's been such a hard-nosed player and so consistent every single year.
He feels like he should be like Marcus Johansson aged, if not older. But
it's actually crazy. He doesn't put up as much penalty minutes as you'd think. He's just that disciplined and that hard-nosed of a player. Crazy.
Yeah. Other big injuries, couple defensemen. Charlie McAvoy took a slap shot to the jaw the other night. Pretty scary situation there for the Bruins. So I didn't see a timeline, just a while, I think was kind of what I'd heard for that. We were talking about the LA Kings earlier. Drew Doughty out week to week after blocking a shot with his foot. I like
typical Doughty injury.
I was going to say, I like when bad things happen to bad people, but but I know you're a Doughty guy because he's done a lot for Team Canada, but I hate Drew Doughty. He's like one of my least favorite players in the NHL.
Oh, I mean, Canucks fans aren't a big fan, but like, the Team Canada factor trumps it for me. Yeah. And he's been in LA loyal, so
he has, yeah. So still, I maintain hockey's better when the best players are on the ice, but and then
he's just like, he kind of reminds me of more of like a bougie hick Brett Burns. Like he's like, yeah. He probably has like a similar lifestyle, or like minus the road trips and the animals.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's see. Other injuries: Marcus's brother Nick out 4 weeks with a hand injury. Dallas Stars, the pretty significant one. Thomas Harley week to week with a lower body injury. That sounds like he was playing through for a little while, so he'll be out for a little bit. Also in division, Utah Mammoth can be without used to be Utah Mammoth, now the Buffalo Sabres, and that went over in that trade. He's week to week. Michael Kesselring with a lower body. He sounds like he left in a foot cast, so probably ankle, foot, something along those lines. So yeah, a lot of injuries this week. Like a lot of big names. So
decimated.
And obviously the Wild, joining that as well. Ryan Hartman on IR with a Charlie horse. He's out on IR, going to be out at least 2 more games. Earliest he can come back is November 26th. Marco Rossi is in a walking boot, was playing through an injury since, I believe, October 16th, and finally decided he had to truly end the Ironman streak. Had missed the 1 game, I think, through the first 3 seasons. He's going to miss some time now.
Bro, and yet he's not a Billy Guerin player, and he plays the freaking injury and still...
Right. Yeah. And still was playing well, all things considered. Vladimir Tarasenko nursing a lower body injury. Don't think that's actively hurting the team right now. I think it's actually helping. He's still day-to-day right now. It doesn't sound like he'll be traveling with a team this upcoming road trip. And then on the good news side of injury, both Zach Bogosian, Nico Sturm, both skating in practice. Sounds like they're both nearing potential returns. Bogosian, we'll see if he works in or not. I think they'll probably work him in, but it's hard to take out Hunter Bouillon with what those two are doing right now. But good news there. Obviously, Nico Sturm, truther, number 1 Nico fan right here. Excited to get Sturm back in the lineup.
Sturm and Niederreiter. That's Brett for you.
Those are my guys. And Mikko Koivu. Those are my dudes. And now Matt Boldy. Let's see. And then 2 other pieces of news. The Calgary Flames, who are having a complete mess of a season, are going to be nice to Zane Parik and let him escape the hell that he's in and be loaned to Team Canada for the World Juniors. So big boost to them. Went in the same draft. I think he went, was it 1 pick ahead of Bouillon? Or maybe like 2 picks ahead. But very highly touted defenseman. Probably should be playing a lot more on that Calgary team along with a lot of their other younger players. But nonetheless, a big boost to the World Juniors for Team Canada and a player that we'll get to see up close here in St. Paul.
We haven't seen teams do that often. I remember the biggest notable one was, I want to say 2012 when Nugent Hopkins with Edmonton was sent, and Canada didn't even, I think they didn't even get bronze that year. So I always remember Ladislav Schmid, who apparently is like the biggest shit talker and one of the guys who's like, if he's not on your team, you hate him. And yeah, there was like some inside access of like, I think it was honestly Edmonton launched their YouTube channel for the first time. It must have been what it is. So they're doing like inside access vlogs, and it's just Schmid just ripping on Nuge. Like, hey, how is it getting beat by the Czechs? How is it being away from the boys? How do you feel about coming back to a team that's still losing? He's like, dude, shut up. Like, oh, poor 18-year-old from Red Deer.
Yeah, well, like beyond him, even like Canada has 9 eligible players playing in the NHL right now for the World Juniors, and it's like Berkeley Catton, Macklin Celebrini, Ben
Yo,
Kendall.
it's like Celebrity's like, fuck the World Juniors. I'm going to the Olympics, baby.
Yeah. Michael Misa, Beckett Seneke, Hunter, is it Brunicky, I think? Sam Dickinson, Zane Perrick, and Matthew Schaefer. Like, they could have an insane.
Schaefer, honestly, is. I mean, he's not going to be let go, but like, say he was allowed to go, he would probably be the realistic option, because I don't know. I mean, he might get the call to the Olympic team, but I think Celebrini has like no doubt played himself onto that team.
Yeah, and I think Russo went on the Athletic Hockey Show, and they were talking a little bit about some of that stuff, and I think his thought was Celebrini, like, it was like, have Celebrini and Bedard played their spot, like, have they played their way onto the team? And I think the thought was Bedard probably not, because he kind of like needs to be on like PP1, probably needs to be in the top 6, where Celebrini's a little more versatile.
Put him anywhere, he'll play.
You can kind of put him anywhere and he'll play. So, yeah, like I think is right now, like, he's on that like Cale Makar level for me of players I just love to watch play. Like,
he's going to be one of the faces of the league type superstar soon.
Yeah, and there was a cool video of him. I think this was before last time they played the Wild even, but it was a shift. I'm trying to remember who the defenseman was that he was going up against, but just like in the offensive zone of those, just like battling the whole shift. Like, he's not a big dude, but he's just like in there, like stick battle, physical battle, like, getting passes off. Like, he's a fun player to watch. So I'd be a guy I would be interested to see if they give a long look, and hard not to, given the start that he's had to the season. And same with Connor Bedard, who finally is like, seems like he's really going to have his true breakout season on the way here for him, unfortunately, for us Wild fans. But anyway, and then the last bit here before we get into full Wild stuff, the Panthers and Rangers revealed their Winter Classic jerseys. Not awful, in my opinion.
Panthers ones are just like, it's kind of, the logo is just kind of goofy. But
yeah, it's like a super throwback. I didn't like when the Wild really did it either, but like the pants that are supposed to look like the old leather and stuff, like the weird yellows and browns.
There's too much going on with the Panthers.
Yeah,
like there's just way too much going on. There's the gloves that
like, which if they just gone like just dark navy for like the gloves and the breeches, I think it would have looked a lot better. New York's, it just looks like a lot of their other jerseys.
Yeah, New York is clean as hell. I mean, you can't really mess. I mean, I guess you can, but it's hard to mess up the Rangers.
Yeah, so like, I don't think you can see it on here, but they have like a cool like shoulder patch, and it's like, it looks like kind of a sketched apple, and then it says like NYC. And I saw someone like lightly Photoshop this where they put that logo on front instead of New York, and actually look pretty sweet. But yeah, like they're fine. It's just it's a yellow version of their normal jerseys, pretty much. So
yeah, I like at this point it's like they should have just gone all out and made the helmets yellow too. And it would have been like somewhat symmetrical, and just as chaotic. But
yeah, so it would be really cool for all the kids in Miami who grew up playing pond hockey to be able to have a Winter Classic this year. But I digress from that. We will now get into some really positive Minnesota Wild talk, beginning with our analytics agenda. Which I'm grabbing a drink here. Starting off, Joel Eriksson Ek. I made a tweet that made some rounds during the week, but like I just had to look back on it because I kind of peeked at this just for my own personal bit of information. But it's really expanded now, and just like the dominating play that Joel Eriksson Ek has had, playing alongside, of course, Matt Boldy and then also Marcus Johansson. Got to give him some credit for what he's added to that line as well. But they have just been absolutely dominating. I think we talked about it probably like about right before when I kind of when the date range for this graphic, I was talking about like, yep, Ek and Boldy, like not scoring a ton, but they're playing really well. They're getting the tough matchups. Haven't really been winning in those minutes yet, but we think it'll come. And now Matt Boldy, I believe, has goals now in 7 of the last 8 games, and then him and Eriksson Ek and Johansson have done this playing on average. So like this doesn't sound like a lot, but if you kind of look at the grand scope of things, so I think my actual tweet itself, I said something along the lines of, I think Eriksson has played like 181 minutes across the last, I think it's 14 games at 5-on-5, and 104 of those have been up against what I would call the team's best line. And it's the majority of his 5v5 ice time every game. So about 7 minutes of his usual, like, depending how many penalties, it's like 14 to 15-ish minutes, some nights 18. So a lot of his ice time. And just like you look at the lines he's gone up against, like just some of the names on there. JT Miller, which we talked a little bit about his laziness, but he's still a good player. Alexei Lafreniere, Timo Meier, Nico Hershier, Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, and Clayton Keller. You have we just talked about him. Macklin Celebrini and Will Smith twice. Crosby, the Kane Pedersen Besser line in Vancouver. Forsberg and O'Reilly in Nashville. Huberdeau, Frost, and Coronado, Calgary's top line. The Celebrini and Smith again. Kreider, Carlson, and Terry, Anaheim's top line, who's like scored at will. And then Barbashev, Eichel, and Bauman in Vegas. Like very, very good players. While winning those minutes 4-2, just 2 goals against. Also controlling 65.1% of the expected goals as well. Just 1.95 expected goals against per hour. Like Selke type shutdown. Like it's one thing to go out there and win your minutes, but to win your minutes against every team's top line, and then now be scoring a little bit more on top of that. Like just really great to see. I didn't update this with last night's game. They did get scored on, but I think they were the only line, like the Ek line, I think actually did win their minutes expected goals wise against the Aho line, who they matched up against much of last night. So, but yeah, just unbelievable what those two are doing. And then on top of this, Eriksson Ek has won the most faceoffs in the NHL this season, 239, and has taken the second most at 458. So also for the first time in his career, hitting just above that 50% mark on faceoffs. I think his career been close to like 47. So we're seeing a pretty like 4 to 5% in a year is pretty huge. So just unbelievable what he continues to do. And like I will maintain, this guy needs to be a Selke contender year in and year out for just what he does. And the point, a lot of people point to the points, but I think you just look at everything that he does for this team, from face-offs to playing power play, penalty kill, net front, shutdown, like drawing penalties but not taking very many. Like he's just does so much for this team, and it's just unbelievable to me how little recognition he seems to get outside of this market sometimes.
Yeah, and I think it was a slow start for everyone, particularly him offense-wise. But now that this is what Eriksson Ek does best. And like the points are going to come with him parked in front of the net, and he's talented enough where like he's going to have breaks and he's going to have good bounces. And yeah, it's not going to be maybe a 60-point year, but he's still going to be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So love what we're seeing from Eriksson Ek, and Boldy and Johansson. Like that's given that Wild that secondary line to get the Kaprizov going a little bit more. I think we've seen. They're 6-1-1 in their last 8, I think, in the month of November. So we're seeing that trickle down from Eriksson Ek. We'll talk about Spurgeon here in a little bit, but another guy who's really been driving the success lately, and feels like we're talking about him every week now. But Jesper Wallstedt, another monster performance last night, coming off of back-to-back shutouts. He goes out and makes, I believe it was 44 saves, I think, on 47 shots last night for Wallstedt, including
shootout. All-star with 2, not one. The glove save was unreal, but like all the saves were good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you could just, it's just so awesome to watch him have this bounce back season, and like seeing him get into the games, hold himself accountable, talk about his confidence, like
oozing confidence.
Yeah, and he should be. These stats are slightly cherry picked a little bit, but if you look at all the goalies who have started at least 7 games, he's third in goals against average, 2.2. First in save percentage at .926. He leads the league in shutouts. He's the only one that has multiple this season. And to boot, 2.8 to 3.3 goal save above expected, depending on what website model you're using. 19th overall, 15th on a per game basis. Like all the parts of a top 10 to 15 goaltender to start the year. And, I think it's easy to look at Philip Gustafsson on the other side of this, and I think his goals against is above 3. His save percentage might still be below 90, but he actually has more goals save above expected. Like the Wild have just objectively played worse in front of Gus than they have of Wallstedt. But I think I talked about this a lot. I think even a little bit last year when the Wild would, like how the Wild would seem to defend playing in front of Gustafsson versus Fleury, and just sometimes when your goalie is seeing pucks, swallowing rebounds and stuff, you can tighten up defensively, get things going a little bit more, versus if your goalie is maybe struggling a little bit, maybe you play a little more frantic, you're throwing pucks a little bit more, struggling with those rebounds, those types of things. And I don't think that's the issue with Gus, but it just seems for whatever reason the Wild have had their worst games have been with Gustafsson in net, outside of the one Wallstedt start against San Jose. That was kind of a mess. But just awesome to see what he's been able to do, like just making, and it's just big saves last night. I think we saw some timely ones. I mean, Carolina fully deserved to win that game. But, the Wild capitalizing their opportunities. Someone brought it up on Twitter today. It was like, it just felt like the Wild had way fewer high danger chances than kind of Carolina. And
they just looked like a different team than the team that was spiraling out of control, that had no defense, no offense, no depth. And it was only the goaltending, keeping it afloat. Whereas now it's like, yeah, okay, Carolina definitely played better in the second and third, but it didn't look like the Wild collapsed like they did earlier in the season, and they just looked like a good team. And it was like, imagine if Johansson didn't bumblefuck the puck a couple times or like hit the net. It was like maybe we're talking about a completely different game in the second period.
Yeah, and it's just you're gonna have some duds like that. Carolina, like,
it wasn't just him. I'm just saying he
yeah.
Like,
oh no, yeah, I'm saying the
had
team
a
as a
pretty
whole.
good game. It was just like there was just some shots. There's just some opportunities. Just like, oh man, Johansson 2 weeks ago, that's in the back of the net. Like,
yeah, and that's not an uncommon thing. Like Carolina, like they're nicknamed the Corsi Canes in the analytics community.
Dude, that
for
Stan
a reason.
Coven Blake line,
They were insane last night.
insane.
Playing a lot against the Kaprizov Zuccarello line, mind you. And just hem them in their own zone. I think they're 5-on-5. I think their expected goals were like 1.2 or 1.3 to like 0.04 or something. I think their shot attempts were like 23-3. Like they were just dominant. Had all 3 goals in the game. But it comes down to overtime. The Wild, a little bit on the ropes to start it. Got a couple looks late, including Kaprizov, I think actually hitting the post or the crossbar, trying to go short side at the ear. And then Jesper Wallstedt, a huge breakaway save, gets the Wild to the shootout. Matt Boldy scores. Wallstedt stops all 3. Now 7 for 7 on the year. They get a big win. But just awesome.
Dude, yeah. It was a fun game, and like I was tired in the third period, barely keeping my eyes open. But once I went to shootout and like Wallstedt made that first save, I was just like, all right, I'm into this. And yeah, what we're talking about Zambonis. I'm sure it was buzzing late night.
Yeah,
there yesterday.
And then let's see and then I want to go last year. One hot take, one thing I thought was a hot take but might not be. Talked about on Twitter this week in the Puck Your Opinion segment.
I just want to say, Puck Your Opinion.
So the first, and like I'd seen this floated around, like obviously we're all really excited about Jesper Wallstedt, like off to a crazy start, looking the part number 1, goalie of the future. And there's been this discourse of like, do the Wild regret extending Gus? Like, should they be trading Gus? And I was like, so I tweeted today, I was like, with the unpopular opinion of like the guy standing straight up, like the kind of thing. And I was like, my opinion was like, the Wild have no reason to trade either of these goalies right now. Like they are, this year, I think, have a combined cap hit under $6 million, and after Gus's extension kicks in, it'll still be, I think, $9. I think it's exactly $9 million combined for these two, so $4.5 million apiece for 2 top 15, top 20 goaltenders. Is like that's a competitive advantage. Like you look at teams like the Canucks, or sorry, not the Canucks, the Oilers, who have like not had goaltending in maybe since like Mike Smith in 2019 or 18, whenever that was. Forever ago. Like I'm sure they'd love to have even one. To have 2 was a huge advantage for the Wild. And like, yeah, obviously if the offer came around where you're getting, a top line legit player, sure, maybe then you have to think about it. But there's no reason to like go at a top 6 guy or something at the expense of what these 2 are doing. I think it's awesome to see like these 2 are clearly pushing each other. Like I think, as right when Wallstedt I think got the first shutout, a lot of people, and then had the second one. All people like, Gus should start again, and I'm like, nope, we need to go back to Gus. And Gus comes in. I think they lost the game, but he was not the reason. I think it was like 2-1 in overtime, and he made a lot of really good saves in that one. Like looked much better, and then in his last start as well, in the first of these back-to-backs over the weekend, I thought he looked great again. Like you're seeing him like Elliot, like, hey, if I want to keep playing games, I need to elevate. And Wallstedt on the flip side, that's like, hey, I know Gus is going to be pushing. If I want to keep playing games, I got to stay on top of my game that it's at. So I think versus I think sometimes maybe where last year, if you're Philip Gustafsson, you're struggling. You're like, well, that's Fleury behind me. He's never going to play more games than I am, like at this point in his career. So like maybe you don't feel that pressure to bounce back as much. So I think the competition is good in that sense.
Yeah, and I mean we've seen we've seen so many teams, not even theoretically, we've seen so many teams ride a goalie, and we've seen a lot of teams be successful with that, but that was 10 years plus ago. Like, what was the last goalie to have a 70 start season? Was it like Talbot, maybe? Like, I think it was.
Yeah, either or maybe Hellebuck.
Yeah, Hellebuck's like kind of the exception, but look at the playoff or lack thereof. No playoff success. Sorry, success he's had in the season, but no playoff success. I think back to like even when like Luongo and Corey Schneider were a duo, like Luongo still played 50, 60 plus games.
Swayman and Allmark were like awesome for that tandem for the Bruins.
I know it always goes down to like how much you're paying your pair, but like dude, I've been like before I even followed hockey like as an adult, even just as a kid, it just always seemed like it made sense that if you have a good tandem, you have a better chance of making the playoffs, and you have depth in the playoffs. And maybe sometimes you have to bite the bullet off or financially for that. And we like, thank God the cap's going up where like it's a little bit more realistic. And I know this Wild team has had their finances strapped for a while, and even now a lot of the money's tied up into older players. But I feel like if you invest in both of these guys, you have one position where if one goes in a funk like now, you can still not only just like stay above water, but like continue to tread forward.
Yeah. Like some comments here asking about like, well, what happens when Wallstedt needs to be resigned? Well, we're, I think at least a year, maybe two away from that. Like you cross that bridge when you get there. At that point, my point was there's no reason like right now, like as they're shopping, like they're reportedly shopping around for a forward, like Gus and Wallstedt are not the pieces you're throwing out there in offers right now. Like a year and a half down the road, when you have a longer look than a 7-game stretch where Wallstedt's looked really good, like I guarantee every goalie that's ever played meaningful games in NHL has had stretches where they've played well for 7 straight games. Like I'm not saying this is going to happen, but like the wheels can fall off quickly. Like we saw what can happen to Wallstedt. He was awful in Iowa last year. Like he's less than a year.
Like it's not going to be perfect in the next 2 years. It's
right. And all of a sudden you have
goalie is.
Yeah, and you might have a bad start here, and you get in your own head for a game or two, and and then it's good to have your backup able to come in. So for me, no reason right now.
Ward
but
won the Stanley Cup when he was 19, 20, and then he was still a great goalie, but there were some ups and downs after that as well. So like you never know in development. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of games where he dominates. There's going to be a lot of games where we probably are like, okay, there's going to have some things he's going to have to work on. But if he's this good right now, so young, and we already see the benefit of having both of them, like let's not jump the gun on Gus. They literally just signed him. I think he's still a great goalie. We've seen all goalies in the National Hockey League, and we've seen him kind of have his ups and downs, but you pointed out even earlier in the show, like it's not like his lows have been some of these lows that we're seeing in other goalies around the league. It's just
right.
I don't think it's as alarming or as concerning and I don't even think that I was gonna say as like the Wild fans are making it out to be, but like I don't really think they're even making it out to be that big of a deal. I think, like you said, there's some discourse around it, but I don't know. When I was talking to Joe Smith and I guess I was only with Joe Smith earlier today, like he was saying, I was getting some questions about it, but he was kind of on the same page as we are. Like especially now when Wallstedt is on his rookie deal, like you're ecstatic that you have two guys that are battling for games.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but I think the other hat tip you have to give here, like the goaltenders have been great too. We talked about Joel Eriksson, but another player that has really turned things around. And like we talked about him a couple weeks ago on this show. I said it was an uncharacteristic start, listed off the numbers, and like it is 180 completely for Jared Spurgeon. And I think to the point where I've seen a lot of chatter that like Canada seems a little worried about their right side for the Olympics. Like, I think you got to at least look at Jared Spurgeon.
Did you see him throwing the body around last night, diving in front of, passing lane shots? Like he was one of the best players for the Wild last night.
Yeah, and I'm going to fact check myself right now, but I am 90% sure that Jared Spurgeon leads the Wild defenseman in hits right now.
Dude, he's been a little wrecking ball. I was watching the game my roommate, and every hit I was like, who was that? Was that Spurgeon again? He's like, yeah, he was Spurgeon again. I'm like, oh my god. So
Yep. Spurgeon has 32. He is 4th on the team in hits.
attaboy.
Middleton behind him at 26.
As he should.
And then there's not another defenseman until Faber was 7, Brodin 6, William 5, Jiricek 4. And then where's Hunt? Hunt 6. So yeah, I don't want to hear he doesn't play. Like, yeah, he does. So, and I think if you're
and Hunt was 6 in limited games too. Hunt's been throwing around the body too. I know he got caught a couple of times last night, but I think the good outweigh the bad with Hunt on this team right now.
Yeah, for sure. With Spurgeon, he's on a 10-game run right now where he hasn't been on the ice for a 5-on-5 goal against. Wild winning those minutes 7-0. And it's some of that's luck, but you look at the numbers under the hood too. 57.2% expected goal share, 58.3 high danger share, only 2.01 expected goals against per hour in that time frame. Elite numbers. And then according to advancedhockeystats.com, most of his minutes this year have kind of averaged out in the 70th percentile of competition. So not cupcake minutes, not the most difficult of difficult minutes, but still playing, 75th percentile. That's the top 20% of players you're looking at. The team's top 4 players still probably out there against, first or second line. So complete turnaround for him. And, we've seen him be more effective on the penalty kill this year. He can play more of a shutdown third pairing type of role, I think, on a national team. And I think, we saw how much Sweden valued Jonas Brodin last year. I saw mocks where, people didn't think Jonas Brodin would be on the team, and he was on their first pair because of his ability to play defense, shut down top players. He was phenomenal at the World Championships, and I've long maintained that Spurgeon's been a better defenseman than Jonas Brodin his whole time here. If Brodin is an Olympian and not good, Jared Spurgeon could absolutely be out there and do the same thing, and I think he deserves that national stage. And the age 35 thing shouldn't bother you either. If you need help on your right side, I think Jared Spurgeon is an option for Team Canada, especially if he maintains the way that he's playing right now. It'll probably never happen, but it should.
Has he been? He's been on the Olympic team before.
I don't think so.
No, just World Championship.
I don't even know if he played at the World Championship.
No, he definitely has been on a couple, but I'm thinking they're just World Championships now. But God, that would be cool to see him for Team Canada. But at least they are deep at defense.
Yeah, but I've seen people. I've seen rumors that Evan Bouchard might not make it this year.
I would rather Spurgeon than Evan Bouchard personally. If we're going international play, we got enough Evan Bouchard puck movers. That Spurgeon will bring a little something extra. Dude, Yurov looked awesome last night as well. No, yeah, for sure.
Played in the Alberta Cup, Memorial Cup, and the CHL Challenge, but I don't think
World Championship. Damn.
World Championship that I can see on, at least on his elite prospects. So
that's wild.
Not weird. Wild.
Not weird.
Yeah. So
friggin' Vlasic made friggin' Team Canada and Jared Spurgeon. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe he was one of the final cuts and Vlasic made it over him in Sochi, and I was like, what the hell? Although Vlasic was a very good defenseman as well.
He finally retired right after last season.
Yeah.
He was in that Gallagher category of I'm pretty sure that guy's been in the league for 40 years.
Talk about a nosedive of I can't look up Vlasic without the pickles coming up. It's so funny.
I love pickles, man.
Dude. You're from Minnesota, of course you do. Yeah, last year was his last season.
Okay. Well, when was his first year?
2006.
That's nuts. So an almost 20-year career.
Bro, and he was he was good until 2020-ish.
He was the shutdown defenseman.
Yeah, he never put out 39 points with his career high.
Yep. But he was
that was actually in 67 games. But
yeah, but
a good year.
You talk about a Jared Spurgeon and Jonas Brodin, he kind of pioneered that role and how valuable you can be, being really good at defending. Now
talk about a guy who when he started to nosedive, his last good year was the Sharks' last good year, and then they just went down, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, they had nothing at that point. So, yeah. that's the bulk of what I had. Any other Minnesota Wild related topics that you want to talk about here before we take a peek at the upcoming schedule?
I was just gonna say, Foligno's starting to look a little more like himself too. I think just honestly, pretty much everybody on the team has been looking better, which is great. Zuccarello has been everything that the team needed and everything that the fans needed and more, as far as like a spark plug for this team. Like, man, he's jumped back in the lineup, and it just seems like the offense has been able to breathe a little bit. Boldy's been able to kind of have better matchups. Kirill and him have just been, it's been magic out there.
Penalty kills looking much better.
Penalty kills look, I mean, all special teams. Like,
yeah,
the special teams went from a goddamn joke in the beginning of the season that everybody was laughing at to now, like, everybody's talking about, oh, one of the better ones in the league, like one of the more notable, special teams in the league, both of them, which is crazy. But no, I just think, just like put the analytics aside for a second, just from like watching the hockey and getting excited as fans, like Zuccarello has definitely brought that like positive, just that positivity we needed, and it's so much fun to watch.
Well, and it just slid people into the right roles, right? Like I talked all year about how I think like a Foligno, Trenyan, and I had said Nico Sturm could be a great shutdown line. Turns out it also worked at Danila Urov. Like, I think you looked at Urov, went up and down. Had some tough games. It's tough to play with Ben Jones no matter what, but had some tough games in the fourth line, but all of a sudden you get him in with those two. I think they were outscoring opponents 3-0 in their 5-on-5 minutes, like controlling 55+% of the expected goals. I think it might have even been closer to 60% at times. So like, it got him into the right role. Zuccarello was able to get Kaprizov going. Zuccarello obviously, he's got
6 points.
6 points in 6 games since coming back. Like, that's pretty darn good.
Boldy's a superstar. Like, there's no arguing it anymore. Like, he is a star in the league.
Mm-hmm. Should be a staple for Team USA. I think I think Brock Faber's played a lot better. Like, he's had that one game where he kind of took a lot of ownership, and I think since then he's maybe had like 2 or 3 kind of down games. But
man, he's such a gamer, and I don't know if I talked about this with you or Joe Smith. I've been literally on all the podcasts, but like, he's one of those guys too that like in the playoffs, like, he's gonna be so valuable because of the way he plays hockey. He just like cares so much, right? And and he doesn't. He was cheating a little bit when they were in like the free fall, because he just like something had to give. And I think maybe there's going to be a decline in points from what we were used to seeing in his first 2 years, but that's just probably a product of like, okay, Bouillon can actually play more of those offensive roles, and he can focus on what he does best, which is, again, he's a fucking gamer, dude. Like, he is going to play defense and get that puck out of there.
Yeah. Well, I think the weird part of like his turnaround, like, there was a lot of like, I think Russo did an article like this offseason about Faber understanding like, to be a $8 million player in this team, like, he doesn't have to be offensive and wants to focus on the defensive game. And I think early in the year you kind of saw that. I think he had 0 points in his first like 10 games, and then I think he had like, and then that's when he kind of fell on the sword. Like, no, I need to get back to my game. All of a sudden has 7 points in 7 games, gets back on the power play. He's been shooting a ton more, but I think what that's done is it's been defense through offense. Like, he's spending more time helping forechecks extend plays, be valuable in other areas, working hard in the D zone, and like, he's really come back, and I think like has looked much more the part of Brock Faber that that we know than there was some times there was like what is his ceiling at this point, and I think you're seeing a lot of that great stuff that we saw in the rookie year for him kind of
Dude, he's only going to get better. He's 23, and we're talking like, oh man, like is this it? It's like, no, man.
Is he like, he's a grizzled vet? Feels like it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this day and age, man. I'm guilty for it at times too, like with sports and stuff, where it's just like, man, like, we are way too impatient, especially with pro athletes.
Yeah, and Marcus Johansson still 17 points in 21 games. Who would have thought?
I hope he hits like 60, 70 points.
It has a career. It'd be cool.
It would be super cool. And yeah. Do you think Haight gets a game? I know they like Ben Jones, but at some point you gotta pick up an assist. I think anybody except for Ben Jones. I think the hockey gods are like, we're just gonna mess with this guy's career as a sick joke, And
Because he has the most basic name ever, Ben
we're gonna
Jones.
facilitate it. We're our hockey god strings that like he stays with the NHL club, so he's still making the NHL money. But he is never that puck when he does score, Brett. That puck's gonna be worth something. So that's gonna be the only one he ever scores in his NHL career.
Yeah, because what is he at now? I don't know what I want to look at his total here. Elite prospects.
I was talking with Joe Smith on the podcast Fellowship of the Rink, and I made some comment on I forget what player we're talking about. I was like, oh man, he hasn't gotten a point in like 12 games or whatever. It just was Ben Jones hasn't got a point in well, at the time it was like 28 games, and I was like, I don't know if that's a good argument.
Yeah, so he has played, let's see, 28 and 9, 37 games, and has no points, 12 penalty minutes, and is -8. Yikes.
Gets back to Iowa and just instantly will start scoring.
Yeah, but just kind of that career twinner. But yeah, will he get a look? As long as they're winning, I don't see them making changes.
Yeah.
But if they lose a game, then yeah, that's probably an obvious tweak that you make. But yeah, it'll be.
There's a few guys on Iowa that I'm excited. I'm excited to see potentially get looks this year or just continue to watch. I've been keeping tabs on them, and yeah, the Swede who came in was hot early. He's kind of slowed down a little bit now, but like, man, just honestly, I know he's never gonna crack the NHL club because he's not there for it. But like, Jerry Mayhew is just pure cinema. Dude, he's leading the team in points now.
Mhm.
Like 5 goals, 2 assists. Like,
and they basically pulled him out of retirement too, which is
dude,
hilarious.
it is so awesome. And dude, they're selling tickets because people want to see the legend that is.
Mm-hmm.
The
like,
G
I'd have to look,
D.
but in terms of like when I say the best AHL player of all time, I'm talking guys who strictly like their whole career was in the AHL. Like Jerry Mayhew might be one of the all-time AHLers, and I mean that as a compliment. Like,
No, I know, like 60 points, 61 points, 44 and 69 games. Like, and he's 32. He was playing Rockford last time, but I mean, yeah, man, this is again, it's just so fun to watch him there because he's so good. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's AHL level, but it's if you're gonna be watching it and you're watching the prospects and you're watching AHL hockey anyways, it's cool to have like a guy just to root for. And I don't know, I think it was a brilliant move to bring him back. Yeah, and it just helped with honestly their depth and their scoring depth. There doesn't put all the weight on the young guys. Where it's like, okay, we can put freaking G back on the top line here. He's gonna keep scoring, and we got some better matchups for the young guy.
Yeah, definitely. So another big stretch. Like I think we kind of ended last week's show talking about how like the games coming up were like against 2 prolific offenses. The Wild that I think were coming off of a loss the night before that show. So we know there was some, we talked about this could be a really big stretch for them, and they've continued to look great in the month of November. We have 3 games until Thanksgiving when that kind of like playoff preview can almost happen where the teams that are in the playoffs at Thanksgiving, I think there's a pretty high percentage chance they make it end of the year. I think this could be the year where you see some of that broken with just how many teams are kind of in the mix right now.
There's a lot of tweener teams right now.
Yeah, like I saw a meme on Twitter yesterday, and it was like, when 2 Eastern Conference teams play each other, and it was like win 1 game, and it was like President's Trophy, and it was like lose 1 game, like NHL Draft Lottery, which is like,
I mean, it is there, a lot of the league is like that right now. It's taken longer than usual for things to kind of settle out.
Right. So we'll see if that's a whole thing this year where there's just more parity, or if some things do kind of. I mean,
look at the Atlantic. Look at the Atlantic, bro. Like Detroit and Boston are above Florida, Montreal, and Tampa. Like what the hell? And like Toronto being so low. I mean, didn't Toronto lose like 5 in a row or some shit? Yeah, I think they snapped it, but
isn't Edmonton like 500?
Worse. Yeah. Edmonton's 500. Seattle's above them.
Yeah, because Edmonton can't get a save. So yeah, it's been a weird year.
It is so weird.
Winnipeg is winning, but their 5-on-5 numbers are still like horrendously bad.
Well, and you look at the Metro, and it's so competitive. It's crazy. It's like Pittsburgh's been. I mean, they've come down to earth a little bit here, but still like 10 wins on the season, and they're 3rd last in the division.
Yeah. It's a weird. It's so
funny. Like the Metro's so stacked in the Central, just everyone's just kind of like poop except for Colorado, and I mean Winnipeg and Chicago. Yeah, just higher expectations from like Dallas, I guess. But yeah, it's just weird looking how the records have played out.
Yeah. So with the holiday next week and the Wild having games just in bad spots, like I think we'll probably just take next week off. And there'll be a string of games before we come back toward you in the month of December. Kind of crazy that the next time we'll be doing it'll be December already. But upcoming, so prior to Thanksgiving, they got Pittsburgh tomorrow. They're 4-3-3 in their last 10, so got off to that really good start. Obviously came into St. Paul, bullied the Wild, and when the Wild got booed off the ice, that's when Faber, I think, kind of fell on the sword. They had the players-only meeting, and then everything that's when the ship righted. So we'll see, I'll be interested to see, playing that same team that kind of made you snap to life, how much better do they look against that Penguins team now? So that'll be a big one. Winnipeg on the road on Sunday.
Early afternoon.
As I just said, they're 6-4-0 in their last 10, so still playing pretty good hockey. I think they're 7th in the NHL in points. So things look good on the surface, but you dig a little deeper, the 5-on-5 numbers are still atrocious. I still think that negative regression is going to hit them hard, and I would love it for the Wild to be a team to kind of start that trend for them. And they stay in the division prior to Thanksgiving on Wednesday night at Chicago, who's playing great hockey, 6-2-2.
And I'll be streaming that one because now that Hoppy's back in the mix, I'll have some more time to do live streams. So I'll be back. I was going to stream last night, but I was just so beat from working all day and to hang out with some friends and watch that one. But yeah, we'll be back on the streaming schedule, one every week. And yeah, we'll be back with the Wednesday games since we'll have that week off for the podcast. It's perfect for me to chime in there and just do a stream. Yeah,
well, excited to see that one because I'm assuming we'll see Spencer Knight, who is having a phenomenal year. I think second in the league right now in goal save above expected, and a big reason that Chicago's seen some success along with Connor Bedard, as we talked about earlier, over I think a point per game right now, leading the NHL there. So that would be a good preview after that Chicago game. If the Wild can win probably 2 of these next 3, I think they'll look to be in pretty good shape, I think, and kind of righted the ship a little bit. Still need to keep winning, but then the schedule will get really tough there. Colorado at home on the 28th. That's a Friday, and then second night of back-to-back at home versus Buffalo. And then on the road in Edmonton, who the Wild always seem to play well. So some winnable games here in the stretch, some big ones too against Winnipeg, Chicago, and Colorado. We just talked about how tight the division could be and where those teams sit right now. So every point, especially in the division, matters. So
that Pacific trip in early December should be. Assuming the Edmonton Oilers are still having goalie issues, I know the Oilers play the Wild. I don't know what the stats are. Every time that I've watched the Oilers play the Wild, it has not been good for the Wild.
Oh, really? I feel like it's the other way around.
But maybe I'm just on the shit end of the stick there because the last 2, I think the last 2 Wild games I've went to live have been against Edmonton, or I've gone to see them live twice, and and they absolutely beat the piss out of Minnesota. And then I think one of the last few games I watched. But anyway, maybe I'm just. Like I said, maybe I've just watched maybe I've been on the shit end of the stick there. But anyways, winnable game nonetheless. Flames, Canucks should make easy work with. And we'll see. Seattle's kind of, sometimes they play good. Sometimes they're kind of just.
I feel like the ones against Seattle turned into the Jacques Lemaire Cup. It's slow slogging hockey, and it's 2-1.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so things are trending up. I think, a rough game against Carolina, but I think I would use some injuries as an excuse. The goaltending played well. I think this will be a team that'll bounce back from that here against Pittsburgh and then hopefully carry some of that momentum on this road trip into some divisional games. But wish everyone who celebrates a happy Thanksgiving and a safe Black Friday. You could probably Black Friday shop most places already, but you guys enjoy your holiday. We will be back with you on December 3rd, hopefully talking some more Wild wins. And as always, taking a look at it from an analytical lens.
Cheers, guys.